What do you think?
I think Green Bay is where I'm starting, and I think that to me is a perplexing situation because of the way they've not only won some of these games, that's including that Patriots game against Bailey Zappi, where we saw almost as a, what would you say it, like a sneak peek when the field goal goes through, you see LaFleur go, like this relief, and then they lose the next 2 weeks to the Giants inexplicably when they were up 14. And then the Jets just getting the doors blown off in Lambeau. And then Rodgers, after the game, said this, and we've heard a lot of Aaron Rodgers sound bites. This one was interesting because I think it might have opened the door and some other thoughts of what's going on there.
We got to be realistic about where we're at. We've played a couple subpar games, the last two, so we got to play better. But wobbly, only if people are breaking rank. You know, I think it'll be interesting to look at the comments from all of our guys and coaches, and hopefully we stick together. That's the important thing. But until I see us breaking ranks, I'm not going to say there's any wobbliness going on.
So the reporter asked him, do things feel wobbly? And that was his response. Breaking ranks is a loaded term. Breaking ranks, of course, has a military background of people talking out of turn, people leaking things. And Rodgers almost was like, I'm going to wait a minute, and I'm going to see how this week goes, because the players, and a lot of them very young, are going to get questions at the locker. And who's going to speak out? Who's going to say something? Or are we going to keep this thing together? The Packers are interesting to me, not because of Rodgers or his salary or like how the offense looks and the defense looks, because they're at a crossroads right now. They are 3-3, and it's almost like Rodgers is back here sitting and waiting and seeing how is this going to play out. If they can stay together, if they can galvanize, if they can find a way to start growing and learning and developing to be the team that we thought they would be, then they could be okay in the NFC. But if they start breaking rank, or if Rodgers hears some things he doesn't like, this can go south. I find this team fascinating right now. Rodgers, of course, one of the most intriguing figures in our game. And if things are going great, always intriguing. If things are not going great, that's when things get really intriguing.
Is it breaking ranks to say no one should break ranks? I mean, that's kind of an interesting quote.
Because you're hinting at the possibility of someone breaking rank.
He means who's going to go on a podcast a few days from now and say we're losing the locker room. And I guess no one has, and we're sitting here on Wednesday.
I circle back to that Jair Alexander thing that he said after the game in London, which is, I'm not nervous that I lost to the Giants, but if we lose to the Jets, and then Aaron Rodgers said, I don't like that, and now he's talking about breaking ranks. I do feel like they're all interconnected.
Yeah, it's different. A team that's done so much winning, especially since LaFleur has been there, when stuff kind of starts to go south, no one's kind of used to that territory, so you want to see how guys react. And you look at those lists of the 10 teams, I mean, you could have picked any one of those teams.
I like that list.
But for me, I went with the Baltimore Ravens, and you look at the way they've lost games. They've been winning throughout most of their games. You look at, I want to show you guys a full screen of what they're doing the first 3 quarters compared to what they're doing in the fourth quarter. First 3 quarters, a plus 59-point differential. Fourth quarter, minus 42. And I know some of you guys are saying, obviously, that Dolphins game, the Dolphins put up 28 points to the Ravens 3. But even if you remove that game, there's still 36 points to Ravens to the 19 points of, 36 points to the opponents to the 19 of the Ravens. If you remove the Dolphins game, for whatever reason, they're not closing out games. The defense is giving up plays, giving up touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Even games they've won, they've been outscored in the fourth quarter. And on top of that, they're making the mistake to lose the game. We watched Lamar Jackson throw interceptions in the fourth quarter. We watched Buffalo. Yes, they went for it on 4th down. He threw the pick to Boyer that gets bumped in the air. Then they go for it. Boyer intercepts that one. Then we watched the Giants game this past week, and it's just like it's a back-and-forth game. Bad snap. He gets the ball. You're like, oh, just throw it out of bounds. You'll get another chance. Julian Love intercepts it, which leads to the Saquon Barkley touchdown. They lose that game. So this Baltimore Ravens team, we called their defense out a few weeks ago. They stepped up versus Cincinnati. They're playing some good football. They're not finishing games, and that 3-3 record could easily be 5-1 at this point. So for me, I'm interested to see how they're going to go, where they go from here.
To me, that full screen of the teams and this question has everything to do with intonation and how you say this. Like, oh, the Packers, they're 3-3. That's interesting. Oh, the Ravens, that's interesting. To me, the Falcons, oh, that's interesting. Like, oh, they're 3-3. Did not see that coming. The Falcons 3-3. Marcus Mariota, are you having a bit of a renaissance? I appreciate this about you. We're trying, man. We believe in you. I was watching that game and I heard the broadcaster say, like, Marcus Mariota perfect so far today. And I was like, I'm sorry, what did he just say? I had to turn around and look at that stat. Yeah, he had a solid game to beat the 49ers this weekend, 28-14. But what I love the most is that the Falcons ran the ball 40 times, 168 yards. That's how you beat some teams that maybe you weren't expected to beat coming into this season. The wins that they have had, frankly, have been such a pleasant surprise. Against the Seahawks, against the Browns, the 49ers. They have a tough one this weekend to go to Cincinnati and try to beat them. But then this is where it's key. They play the Panthers twice in a 3-week span. In a divisional situation that is a little bit wide open, they could take ownership of something that can become very interesting.
I agree. Yeah. And I think we talked about this. I think that that's the most interesting game of the week.
Yeah.
Falcons, Bengals at the 1 o'clock kickoff. Right. It's just there's storylines and, there's not exactly gems other places, but I like that game a lot. And yet, when I look at that list of 3-3 teams, it is an instant choice for me. By far the most interesting, I think, is the Miami Dolphins for a lot of reasons. They're the strangest 3-3, and the closest you can come to giving an asterisk to 3-3, because they were 3-0. They were the biggest story of September. It wasn't the Giants, it wasn't the Jets, it was the Mike McDaniel Dolphins. And then we had just this terrible thing happen with Tua while we were in London, and they're playing the Bengals, and Tua leaves the game, and we haven't seen him since. They lose the game, and they haven't won since. And now Tua's coming back, and they're playing Pittsburgh, and the Tua thing is going to restart. So was it the Tua thing? Was it the McDaniel thing? Then there's this other separate issue. We need to get into the ping pong topic. All right, so way back on the 12th, I guess it wasn't that long ago, there's a ping pong table in the locker room, as teams will have, and you play, and it's bonding and stuff like that. But then Coach McDaniel said, no, there's been a change to the ping pong table. Here you go.
Tyreek and the captains decided that, they wanted to take a step forward with Tyreek and the captains decided that.
I think the video froze. So what happened is basically Mike McDaniel's still talking now and disembodied.
You should just dub over his...
Max Headroom.
Yeah, what happened? What happened is Mike McDaniel said Tyreek thought there should be a change in leadership. We removed the ping pong table. It's just all about ball. No, that's not what happened. Show the tweet. Tyreek says, on the contrary, not only was I not removing it, this is from a journalist, the real reason the ping pong table is gone is Tyreek is working to getting a new custom design Dolphins table to replace it. He said the old one had gotten bent. The player tournament is still on, according to Hill. So I'm gonna challenge the certainty here of this clip, and I'm going to go to another Mike McDaniel clip.
You're going to roll the dice?
I really am. I like to live on the edge. And then Mike McDaniel says this in response.
I always defer. Listen, okay, it's the players' locker room, and if they giveth, they can take it away, and they can re-giveth.
All right, can we all button this together? Because we had some technical difficulties about take the ping pong table out. And McDaniel's like, I respect it, and that's leadership. Tyreek's like, taking it out, I'm pimping it out. I'm making it cooler. It's back. McDaniel says, like I said, it should be in there, because the leadership said. So a little uncertainty, but here's the story, most important. Tua's coming back. The ping pong table, apparently with logo and non-bent, is coming back. So September is coming back. We're going to re-giveth and re-Septembereth. And I think the Dolphins will be coming back. And look, wasn't the question what's most interesting?
Yeah.
The last 90 seconds of the show have been pretty interesting.
For sure.
Not great, but interesting.
Not
And
great,
I
but
think
It's all on how you say it. Interesting.
Interesting? Okay, Kyle. That was interesting.